They're here. How's it going, everybody? My name is Alex. You're watching Izzy's Autos. Today, the seats are in. They just came in the mail. Super excited. And they're gonna be going on the Datsun. Now, these seats that I got are retro style seats. They're not brides, they're not Recaros, because I didn't feel like spending $2,000, but I hope that they're gonna be that nice sweet spot. So anyway, without further ado, let's unbox these seats and see what they look like on the Datsun. Okay. So, just for starters, this box is like super light, so I have a feeling these seats are gonna be really light too. Dude, these things are so light. They're probably thinking, oh damn, they must be carbon fiber. No, they're not. They're definitely not carbon fiber. Damn. Check these out. Let's get this thing off the tripod here. Damn. Look at these seats. So, these are going to be going in the Datsun, and I got them from retroseats.com. Really original. Anyhow, so it's got leather on the outside. Now it's obviously not real leather, but you know, it's not a bad material. And we've got like a micro suede, almost like an Alcantara down the middle. And I went with this one just to kind of support me while driving a little bit more. It also does come with these little grommets, if you want to call it that. The bottom ones have them too, but you can tell that's actually leather. Interesting. So you've got that as well. And you've got your little inserts to put your harness if you are going to be using the harness with these seats. This of course is just FRP. You know, it's nothing too crazy. And yeah, that's pretty much about it here. Before we do that though, let's talk about the build quality of these seats. Okay, so let's start with this here, the obvious parts. Now, this is not the most expensive seat out there, so I'm not expecting high grade quality, but you could tell that some of the gluing that they did on certain parts of the seat aren't really the best. It's kind of lifting in this area right here, and a little bit right here as well, as you could tell. Now, as for the grommets themselves, they're cut out okay. You could kind of tell that they're not the most high grade ones. So yeah, do bear that in mind. This is not gonna be like crazy good quality at the end of the day. These only cost me $800 Canadian, shipped, duty, and all that stuff. So you can't really ask for too much. The quality with this one is pretty much the same story too. This one, if anything, it's kind of a bit shoddier. Like that is, that's really not on there too well. So I'm gonna actually have to re-glue that, or potentially even tape it with double-sided tape to kind of make it fit a little bit nicer. But yeah, so that's kind of coming off there. But overall, I mean, looking at the face of it, the seat does actually look, I think it looks so good. It's a very retro, very old school design. But again, you can't really ask for too much. This hole is also kind of, looks kind of, if you know what I mean. So yeah, anyway, we got the seat brackets out. And I'm gonna measure up the holes right here, right there and there, so get the exact measurements. And then I'm gonna essentially line them up onto the new seat, drill the holes in, and then install the OEM brackets that were on my Datsun onto the new seat. So let's get going with that. Okay, so the first dilemma we've run into right off the bat is that this seat is wider than the mounting positions on the original seat here of the Datsun. Now, what that means is the holes where I'm gonna have to screw are going to be closer in to the inside of the seat, which isn't ideal because then it's gonna be harder to put a washer there and make it a little bit more stable. The other issue is back here. Because the seat, I don't know if you could tell, the seat kind of curves in a little bit. It's going to make it quite difficult when I put the hole, because there's a lot of material, FRP material, fiberglass material on the inside. So then putting a washer on the inside is going to be difficult. And then even putting the nut, I think, might be a bit challenging. But I'm gonna give it a go anyway. So I made my two little positions, little ticks there of where the exact width of the seat is relative to this seat. And then we're gonna start drilling. We're gonna mount the brackets on and see how shoddy the fitment is gonna be.
One hour later.
Okay, that was embarrassing. So we've run into, well, another problem. So the slider right here, as you can tell, there's a little bit of a lip there. That's the mechanism from the original seat rail. This is actually sitting on the actual mechanism part right there. So look at the gap on both sides. That's a pretty big gap. Okay, so that took way too long. We've got the rails mounted on. I don't think this is gonna work the first time around. It doesn't even look like they're centered. And I measured it, and apparently everything is good according to the measurements. I know it does look a little bit off here, but anyhow, I'm just gonna go mount them up. What I ended up doing on this side is I just put 2 washers just to kind of lift this section relative to that section, because that side's obviously higher because of the sliding mechanism. So we're just gonna test fit it right now, and then I'm gonna do the adjustments after. When you're putting the seat in, of course. Okay, so there they are. Not bad, not bad. They look pretty good from out here, actually. Here we go. That's what they look like mounted. Well, in position. Yeah, they look pretty cool. They look pretty good. They look pretty damn good. It's a nice snug fit. The size of the seat is, I feel like it's a very small seat. You know, like it doesn't really come up that high, but. So what I'm gonna try and do now, I'm gonna try and bolt it all up and see if I got my measurements correct. Cross your fingers. Woo, baby. Let's just shut this door and let's make this authentic. Okay, so first impressions. The seat itself feels nice. It's got a real hardcore rake to the back. So this is like a real good chillin' seat. Like you look like a bit of a pimp when you're driving this thing. Now, it does feel like the seating position itself is quite a bit lower than the other seat, and I don't really have much of a problem with that. How's the comfort of the seat? I think it's pretty damn good. You got a lot of support here right by your hips, so if you're a little bit of a wider person, a little bit of a bigger person, this seat might be a little snug for you, just because the bolsters on this side are really aggressive. But as for the shoulder area here, you don't have too much support, to be quite honest. So if you're taking corners, you're definitely going to be sliding around here, but definitely by your thigh areas and all the way up until about your kidneys or your pelvic area, you've got a decent amount of support there. But as for the seats themselves, they're pretty damn comfy, I'm not gonna lie. You do feel the layers on your back because of the design, but overall this feels really, really nice. Now, of course, since these are fixed backs, you can't really adjust anything, so the way the seat is sitting on the car is the way it's going to be permanently. But if I were to be shifting, for example, yeah, this feels really, really nice. It feels like a little bit more of a chill car. I feel like Vin Diesel right now. Alright, so I went and bought myself essentially this big metal bracket. Now, what this is going to do is I'm going to put this on the bottom of the seat to anchor to the seat rails rather than putting washers. This is pretty thick overall, and it seems to be pretty sturdy, so I think this is going to be a better option than just putting a bunch of washers there and hoping that it stays sturdy. This will provide a lot more surface area and essentially will keep the seat anchored a lot better to the seat rails rather than the washers themselves. So I'm going to cut these up and I'm going to put them on the rails right now. Okay, so I cut them into 4 little bits here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to be mounting the screws straight through the hole right through there that are going to go into the holes on the seats. And that should offset the height that the brackets on the right side should make it a lot more sturdy than it was before. Screw that through like that. And okay. And right off the bat, we seem to be good in the front. Boom. Just like that. Okay, so this is looking a heck of a lot better and sturdier overall, so I'm happy to see that. Okay, so now let's go ahead, put a washer on the end, this one, and start tightening it up. Now there are little holes on the sides here where you can access the nut and the washer that you're gonna have to put, obviously, to secure the seat. Okay, so we got them all mounted up. As you could tell, this now is fitting a heck of a lot better. We've got the washers in there, the nuts all secure, and that gap now is completely taken care of. And it's fitting nice and snug, which is good to see. These things look so good. Oh my God, they look fantastic. I'm gonna just leave it for the end of the video. I'm gonna leave it for the end of the video so that you can see both of them together. But they're fitting, the driver's side fits really nice, and it looks so good in the inside. Even though I don't have any carpet on the car, which is coming soon, it looks really nice. So anyways, I'm gonna now do the second seat. This is taking a little bit more time than I would have hoped, but regardless, second seat's up next. We're gonna mount that. We're gonna bring it outside where there's more light for you guys, and then you're gonna see what the finished product looks like. I am so excited for this. Okay, so we ran into our second problem here. So that hole that I just made right here, well, unfortunately, there seems to be a metal bracket that comes around, but it's very inconsistent and it's not the same on each side. So as I was drilling a hole, it skipped off the metal and onto the fiberglass. So I completely missed the metal, but now it's offset my hole and the holes are not even at this point anymore. So now I'm gonna have to try and make a little bit of magic here and try and see if I can make this happen by filing it down essentially with the side of the drill bit, pushing it in this way. So yeah, that's the first issue I've run into with the second seat here. Let me tell you guys right now, measure twice, cut once. The last thing you want to do is make a really bad hole here and then you're having a hard time recovering from it. I've made the little indentation and I'm going to measure again and just make sure that that's exactly where I want the hole to be. If not, honestly, it's just going to make your life a lot harder. So be patient, measure twice, cut once, and don't make the mistake that I did right here. Okay, so here they are. Haven't bolted them in yet, but that's what they look like. They're pretty good. I like them. I like them quite a bit. Damn. Let me go bolt them up now and see what it looks like. Okay, so here's the finished product. Damn, look at these seats. Holy. They look really good. They got all mounted up nicely here. And they look fantastic. They fit really nice and snug too. That's the driver's seat. And the passenger seat. I think they tied the interior in super nicely. This is actually quite an aggressive rake. I don't know if you can really tell here, but there's one thing I would change with this seat is probably the angle. I wish it was a little bit more upright because you are sitting quite relaxed, for a lack of a better term here. But other than that, the seat comfort is very nice. It's quite nice. It's not too stiff here. It feels fantastic. So I'm quite happy with that when it comes to comfort. The one thing I will say that is quite difficult is getting in these seats. And I'll show you what I mean. So getting inside of them is kind of difficult. Overall, super comfy, nice and sturdy here, and they're quite comfy too. So I'm actually really happy with how these turned out. Yeah, getting in and out of them, that's the one thing that is a bit tricky. And because they're fixed back, obviously that is to be expected. So that is all, guys. Those are the seats. What are your thoughts on them? I think they look so good. There are a couple things that I would change with them though. The seatbelt position, actually, because the seat is so low, it actually kind of hits you right on the neck. So I actually had to put the lap belt underneath my armpit because it was just kept sliding over top of the headrest. So that's kind of a bit of a pain, and that's because the seat is so low. But the bigger one that I would definitely change with it has to be the incline of the seat. It's way too far back, and it's almost like I'm kind of reaching to get to the steering wheel. So if I could do a quick tweak, it definitely would be those two things. Make it a little bit taller and a little bit less angled. But other than that, I think the seats look fantastic. So anyway, let me know in the comments section below what your thoughts are on the seats. Should I have gone with a different one? If you're a fan of them, leave a thumbs up. If you're not a fan of them, well, I guess maybe leave a thumbs down. Just kidding, don't do that. But one thing you got to do for me is definitely subscribe. I don't even know why I'm saying it at this point anymore. If you like car stuff, you love Datsuns, you love Nissans, car reviews, vlogs, subscribe to the channel. You'll really enjoy it and you won't regret it. Anyways, and if you were looking to get these seats, hopefully this video gave you a good idea of what to expect when you put them in your car. Take care, everyone, and we'll catch you in the next video.